I want to turn now to an issue, a new play written by the journalist and the writer Mary Kenny. It's called Allegiance. It's an imaginative reconstruction of an encounter that took place between Michael Collins and Winston Churchill during the treaty negotiations in London. It's going to be performed in Dublin for the first time next week at the Mill Theatre in Dundrum. It's a collaborative effort between writer Kenny, director Jason Byrne, and the father and son acting team, Rory Moran Sr. and Rory Moran Jr. in the roles of Churchill and Collins. They're touring the country with this unique show, and joining me more to tell us about it is Rory Moran Jr. Rory, I take it you're playing Michael Collins.
I am playing Collins, yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the encounter that you're going to reenact.
Well, basically, during the treaty negotiations, Collins and Churchill, they really disliked each other. They represented polar opposites. One, the revolutionary, and the other was the imperialist. And they really didn't like each other. They had no time for each other. So over the negotiation table, they didn't get on. And they had a mutual friend in Lady Lavery. Lady Lavery was Churchill's art teacher. She taught him how to paint. And she was a good friend of Collins. And they may have even been romantically involved, as you might know. But she basically said, when the treaty negotiations were in stasis and they weren't getting anywhere, she said, why don't you meet up privately? The two of you go, have a couple of drinks, sit down, man to man, and see, can you come to some agreement? So Churchill put out the invitation, and one night Collins arrived in Churchill's private residence in Hyde Park late one night, and they went in and they sat down and they argued and they fought and they laid out their cards and they had a good few drinks, and they ended up getting rather drunk and in fact singing songs and reciting poetry and actually kind of making a connection, which is, and sometime after that meeting, because they left that meeting, instead of being enemies, they were kind of fascinated by each other. And after that, they found some resolution. Shortly after that, the treaty was actually signed.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to go to a clip in a second. Allegiance is performed at the Mill Theatre in Dundrum, 19th to 20th, 21st of September. Tickets available at the box office. You can call there or just check out the Mill's website. Let's have a listen to Michael Collins and Winston Churchill.
They wrote a lot of one-sided baloney about the Irish outrages against the Black and Tans, who you sent to Ireland, Mr. Churchill. Yourself and Sir Hammer Greenwood, who, damn it, I also have to sit across the negotiating table from.
I did not dispatch the Black and Tans to Ireland, Mr. Collins. I merely germinated the idea of an auxiliary police force.
The auxiliaries were worse.
In 1919, we were obliged to send auxiliary forces to Ireland to prevent the country falling into utter and total lawlessness.
They created utter and total lawlessness. They went rolling around the country, terrorising women and children. They even cut the tongues out of innocent civilians' mouths. You didn't read about that in the Illustrated London News, did you? No, because it was all Sinn Féin outrages. And I tell you something else, they were drunk too. Not one of my men was ever drunk on duty. Not one.
Our troops acted in the same way as the Chicago or New York police force would do when dealing with criminal gangs. Your own brother is a member of the Chicago.
There you go, checking up on me and my family, British spies, always on the bloody
Your
job.
brother Patrick will enlighten you, sir, as to the difficulty of dealing with criminality and lawlessness. We were faced with assassinations in broad daylight on the streets of Dublin.
Look, you asked me to come here tonight to your home to meet with you privately, so that we could sit down and talk and try and sort out the impasse that these bloody negotiations have got to, but there is no feckin' point to me being here at all if we're so completely at cross purposes that we can't even agree on terms of reference or see eye to eye on the roots of the bloody problem. Our lawlessness was the only way that we could affirm the democratic mandate of our people, and that mandate was expressed time and time and time again in your parliament for an independent Ireland. Do you even understand the meaning of democracy, Mr. Churchill?
Yeah, Churchill and Collins going toe-to-toe. Sounds good, doesn't it, Anja?
Two giants. I'd love to see that, actually. Listening to that excerpt, well, it put me in mind of the August journalist Seamus Martin, who's actually brother of the Archbishop, Martin,
Dermot,
singing The Gentle Black and Tan, as he used to do at the Irish Times Christmas party every
really?
year. And a wonderful song it is, too. And two wonderful characters. And I think Michael Collins has that John F. Kennedy aura about him, you know, like tragically young, you know, really a giant figure, a fantastic leader. And the tragedy of his passing, I think, is something that all Irish people always feel.
Okay.
Allegiance by Irish journalist Mary Kenny will be performed at the Mill Theatre, Dundrum, from Thursday the 19th to Saturday the 21st of September. It's a father and son team who play the parts of Winston Churchill and Michael Collins. The big fellow and the British bulldog, who had publicly despised one another, met privately once in 1921. We offer you a ringside seat for this night that changed history, full of passion, laughter and sadness. That's the Mill Theatre, Dundrum, from Thursday the 19th to Saturday the 21st of September.